Hello, hello, hello. Is this thing on? Right, so welcome to my Star Wars Battlefront II music tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to, well, kind of a little bit of two things. Well, actually, kind of more like three things. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to set up Zero Munge to munge music for you, because Visual Munge, which comes with the mod tools, kind of sucks and it's very unreliable. I mean, it works for some people, but honestly, it's just not worth trying to get working. Just leads to too many headaches. So yeah, I'm going to show you how to set this up. My tool Zero Munge to uh, munge music, or well, munge sound files rather. Um, and then I'm going to show you how I edit my music tracks. It's pretty simple. I'm not going to do anything crazy. It's simple to me anyway. And then I'm going to show you how to actually implement them. It shouldn't take too long, hopefully no more than 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. We'll see. I guess you can just look at how long this video is, and then you'll know exactly how long it takes. So, right, so I already have a very bare bones, like I literally just created this project like 5 minutes ago called Data ABC. Just a typical map. Haven't done a single thing to it except the first munge, as you can see here. I will leave a link to Zero Munge in the video description. It's all you really have to do is just Google Zero Munge, and it'll probably be the first result on GitHub. Then you just download the latest released, unzip to the build folder, and the exe should be living in the build folder alongside the Visual Munge exe. So yeah, that's that. So I already have some music tracks. We're not gonna get into those just yet. So first off, we're going to fix up the sound munge bat. So what you want to do in Zero Munge is go to Add Files, and then navigate to the sound. So it should start you off in the build folder for your project, and then you want to navigate to Sound, then select munge.bat, and then you can go to Tools, and then there will be fix sound munge files, because the sound munge files that come with the tools are they're broken, they don't work. So yeah, now you want to select the project folder, which is Data ABC for me, and then it'll ask if you want to overwrite the sound munge bat, and you click yes. All it does is change a few lines to be correct, if I'm not mistaken. I actually might be mistaken. I'm pretty sure it actually overwrites the entire file with the fixed version of the file, so ignore that last part. Uh, yeah, and say yes, yes. And then this is technically it's optional, but you do want to do this, because if you don't do this, then, well, I'll show you. So these are all the things that, these are like all the different sound folders that will get munged by default. And obviously you're not making an entire game, so you don't really want almost any of this. The only thing you want is Data ABC, which actually doesn't even appear to be in here. So first off, we're gonna, I guess we'll leave all of them. That's actually a good note. I should fix that. So uncheck all of them except for, let's say, Coruscant, then apply, then yes, then close. So if we go into this file, we should now have, yeah, just Coruscant. So now, this is actually a little bit finicky at the moment. I need to fix this in a future update to Zero Munge. So now all you have to do now is just replace each instance of core. So all 4 instances with ABC, ABC, ABC. I think that's, yeah, ABC. And as you'll notice, Zero Munge automatically adjusts the BF2 sound path variable here to point to your, to point to the game directory that you configured in Zero Munge when you set it up. So yeah. So for this, all you really need to do is make sure that it's pointing. So ABC here is the sound folder that you're wanting to munge. It might be something different. You might have called something different, like my special sound folder or some nonsense. I don't know. So yeah, but mine is ABC because that's just that's just the one that comes with it out of the box. So yeah, that's all good. Restricted mode, shut up. All right. So now, obviously, there's nothing in this is a fresh, clean project, so there's nothing actually in the sound folder really. So munging right now wouldn't do anything. But yeah, so that's fine. So now we are going to do the mixing section where we take our audio tracks and then make them into. So basically, Battlefront music tends to work in three parts. There's the first part, which is like the start of the match. It's all based on reinforcement counts, at least in Conquest mode. So the first part is the start of the match. It's kind of usually like, I mean, it depends. It's kind of like an artistic choice that you can make, but I think generally I tend to go with the first track. Like the mood is usually kind of quite. It's not too intense, but it's usually kind of like, it's kind of like the start, like the fresh green grass in Naboo, kind of leading up to the big battle, right? And then the second part is the big battle, and then the end is usually like the climax. So yeah, so I've got these three tracks from Kevin MacLeod, which is just he's Kevin MacLeod, if you're not familiar, does a lot of he like has, I think, thousands of just completely free Creative Commons licensed music tracks that pretty much anyone is free to use as long as you credit appropriately. So yeah, I've got a few music tracks that I've downloaded that I would like to use. So I'm going to be using Audacity to edit these down just a little bit. Basically, just make them loopable, so they sound good. Yeah. So I'm gonna open them up on Audacity. This is the first track. Sounds good. The first step, people often forget this, amplify, because there's oftentimes a little bit of room outside of the mix. A little bit of headroom. A lot of... Technically speaking, it's... You in typical projects you wouldn't want to do this, but I found that in Battlefront for whatever reason, everything always like kind of shouts over the music whenever you don't make things loud. If it's like a quiet track, then, and if you want it to sound quiet, then you should probably not adjust that. But generally speaking, I tend to amplify quite a bit. So yeah, this all sounds good. So this part here, kind of like a little break bridge. Cool, that's all good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make this loopable. So this is what I tend to do, is tend to duplicate the track, find out at what point is a good place at the end of the track to loop it, because obviously the very end is not really anything. It's just quiet. That's a weird... Oh, it's like a triplet. Strange. Okay. So that's... It helps to know a little bit of music theory here, but it's not really necessary. So if you kind of like, you can kind of see like the start of the beat here. Actually, let me first clean up the beginning of this. So this is one of the latest versions of Audacity where you can just do this. You can just drag, and it'll clip for you. If you don't have that, then you can just select and delete. It'll pretty much do the same thing. But this is non-destructive, so it's a little bit nicer. So I'm just trimming off the front end of this track. And yeah, make sure that sounds fine. Yeah, that's good. So bring that back in. And then line up the last beat with the first beat, pretty much. And then listen to how that sounds. make sure there's no other parts as well that I tend to kind of search through the track to find a good looping point. Sometimes it's not at the end, oftentimes it isn't, especially with Mass Effect stuff I've noticed. Kind of a weird ending, actually. Very strange and repetitive. Okay. So what I'm doing right now is trying to make sure that the timing sounds right, that it doesn't kind of sound like it's overlapping. It needs to sound naturally looping, so that's pretty good. So now that we have our point, we can select this snapping point here and then hit Control B to make a label that we can snap to later. In fact, we actually don't need to do that. What we can do instead is grab the end of this track and then cut, then delete that, then paste. So now it'll be pretty much crossfaded and looping perfectly. The beginning sounds a little bit weird, but that's fine because typically Battlefront tracks fade in the first music track, so it'll pretty much sound something like I think it's usually like a 1.5 second fade. So it'll actually, when in situ, it'll actually sound more like this. Not perfect, but good enough. I think most people won't notice. This is easier to do with some music tracks more than others. Digitally created tracks, like, so Kevin MacLeod does all his stuff in a DAW. It's all synthetic. It's all like synthetic instruments and stuff. If you're trying to edit like a recording of an actual orchestra, like say a Star Wars track from the films, that might be harder to get it perfectly aligned, or perfectly looping, just due to the nature of due to the imperfect nature of classical music, or just live recordings in general. That sounds good. That's perfect. So we're going to go to export this. Actually, first, we will go back into our project folder, go into the sound folder, worlds, and then we don't even have a sound folder yet. That's actually why Zero Munge didn't. So if we create a sound folder here, ABC, and go back into the Zero Munge, and then tools, modify munged sound folders. That's what that prompt was before. Set the project folder. So here we go. Yeah, this is correct. Okay. I don't have to go and fix anything. That's good. So, yeah. So that's how you get back to this prompt. And this will pretty much add and remove lines to munge different worlds, because it all kind of centers around one munge file. Just like a generic sound munge file instead of individual worlds or whatever. Don't ask me why that is. Ask Pandemic. So that's that. So that's already done. So that's fine. So in our ABC sound folder, so we're gonna grab. I'm going to go into Coruscant and use this as a basis. We're going to grab the Coruscant like master REQ file, or rec file as I like to say, and then we're gonna grab the Clone Wars rec file, Galactic Civil War rec file. And then, well, actually, we'll just do this for Clone Wars, because it'd just be repetitive if I did it for both. So Clone Wars rec file, master rec file, and then Clone Wars .mus, short for music file, and then music config sound file. So we're gonna copy those to here. Then we're gonna rename them ABC. Not ARB, I don't know why I typed ARB. ABC, then I actually like to capitalize usually, but that's fine. ABC, and then ABC, ABC. And so if you go into these files, you need to adjust the naming in the files themselves. So this is obviously not correct. So this master rec, we want to change to only point to, so this points to It's kind of similar to side files, to side recs and stuff. This level means that it's looking for a rec file, a subrec, and that subrec is abccw.req. So yeah, and then you go into abccw.req, and you get rid of bank because that's for sound effects, and get rid of everything except for the music lines. Unless you have other stuff in your file, in which case you would be adding, just adding these lines. Change that to ABC, and ABC. ABCCW music.mus, and then musicconfig.sound. Obviously, you leave out the file extensions, because that's REQ files don't like that. So I'm pretty sure it has to be in this order. Sound file first, then music file second. I could be wrong about that, but I'm fairly certain that it has to be in this order, so just don't change that. So now that we have our sound folder basically set up, can go back to our track, export as wave. Well, first we should check the project sampling rate. For some reason in this version of Audacity, they fucking moved the they moved the they moved the sample changing stuff to somewhere else. Very annoying, but whatever, that's fine. And so you can go into in this version, it's audio settings, audio setup, audio settings, and then project sample rate 44 kilohertz. That's fine. Music shouldn't really need to be higher than that. Maybe 48, but please do not put music at anything lower than 44. 32 and 22 will sound terrible. Please don't do that. just don't do it. Please, I beg of you. I will come and find you if you do. All right, so now we're gonna export. Navigate to where do I actually have this at? J drive. Okay. J drive. BF2 mod tools. Find your sound folder. Oops, that's the world folder. Sound folder, worlds, ABC. Now you're gonna make a streams folder because music tracks are streams. And then now we're gonna call this. The naming convention does not matter as long as I think it just doesn't have to. I think it just can't start with a number. So the naming convention doesn't technically matter, but it's nice to be a little bit clean with it. So I like to go world ID ABC MUS for music, and then start because this is a starting track, and then 1. In case, so you would do a 1 if you're gonna have other music tracks in the starting playlist, basically. And then export, and then that should be done here. Yep, all good. That's good. That is done. So now we can quickly do the rest. Music tutorial. I can't remember which. Which one was I going to use for middle? I think that was going to be the last one. All right. So now we're going to drag our next file in here. I'm not going to spend too much time with this. Make sure that it's all good. Trim off the end. Pretty much do the same thing that we did with the others. Yeah. And that starts like, oh, that's perfect. That's easy to loop. So now we can duplicate this track. Find the looping section. Probably going to be around here. Yeah, I think that's right. Cool. That's perfect. So now we can do the same as before. Cut. Do that. Done. I usually also sometimes like to, if you go into repeat, effects repeat, just do 1 repeat. You can kind of test the loop. Cool. Perfect. Seamless. Done. That one's done. Export. Wave. ABC. Use mid for middle. 1. And then this is only so easy and quick to edit these tracks because they're done with a DAW. So it's quite simple. So now we're end track. This is a good example of when you don't want to use the end, because I don't think I will. Actually, you know what? This is kind of cute. Well, this isn't a music editing tutorial, so I'm just gonna, much to your surprise, so I'm just gonna do the normal thing. Okay, yeah. I was considering cutting out this part, but it flows better with it, so, yeah. Wait, did I turn out the start? I don't think I did. Cool. And that again, so it's updated. Right. You can find where it matches up. Around there, yeah. Cool. That's perfect. Whoops. What did I just do? There you go. Cool. That's fine. Export that one as well as wave. Same thing. A, B, C. Use end one. So that's all done. Okay. So now for the rest of the setup, in the rest of the music setup, we can exit out of that. And then, do I have these all open? I think I do. No, I don't. Okay. Right, so first you want to go into your music config file. There's a lot of crap in here. I think the conquest stuff is usually at the bottom. Where is that? Vehicle, victory, middle, star, here we go. So get rid of all this other crap if you don't want it. That's just like campaign music and stuff. PC. We're not going to have different teams have different tracks. There's no real need. So we'll get rid of... actually, I don't even know if they do have rap stuff. That's kind of funny. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway. So we're just keeping the, so you can actually see it. We're just keeping the CAS core amp start. Then we're going to rename this to ABC amp start, ABC amp middle, then ABC amp end. Oh God. Right. So we're going to get rid of all the segments except for one, in which we are going to... Oh, I forgot a stream file. That's a good point. We should have a stream file. Completely forgot that. Just take any stream file, really. STM, not an ST4 file. I guess not any stream file. STM file. Copy that in. Change that to ABC music.stream. Edit it. Ditch pretty much everything. Why is this? Oh, yeah, because that's ambience, right? Get rid of all that. We don't need it. So now you're gonna put your music wave files. So that's ABC views start 1, and then duplicate those with Control D, mid, and save. That should be done. And you want to reference this in, well, it doesn't really technically matter which one, as long as it's loaded. Yeah, let's do it in, well, it might matter for the, open audio stream bit. So duplicate this, change it to STM, or no, STR, rather. I can't remember if you need an alignment header for this. Let me check another one, because I deleted it. Actually, you can just control... Right, you do. Okay, so copy that. Align equals 2048. Sorry, it's been messy. 2048. Right, so we need that. I'm not too sure. This does something with the munge. I'm not 100% sure what, but it's needed, so ABC music. So this would be referring to the stream file. And that's that. Yeah. okay, that's all good. Right. So now here, these segments are referring to these WAV files. If the WAV files have an alias, like if you did, oh, this is, or, well, a real one like end track for some reason, if you for some reason reference or added aliases to them, which you can do if you really want to, you would refer to that instead, instead of the WAV file name. But yeah, we're not gonna do that. So take our wave track name, wave file name, start file name rather, put it into segment. We just have one segment. If we wanted more tracks to play, we could have a few others. Like if we had 1, 2, 3, 4, if we had those wave files, then we could do that. It would pretty much play them like a playlist, depending on the cycle playback setting. But we're not going to do that. You can find the different cycle playback modes in, I think it's the Sound Engine README, if I'm not mistaken. So that's all good. So next thing you need to watch out for is the stream line. This refers to the STM file. So our STM, so this refers to specifically the STM file that these segments should be pulled from. You can only have in a sound stream like this, you can only pull from a single stream file. You can't pull from multiple stream files. STM files, that is. So I could pull from anything in here, not anything anywhere else. You can pull from other ones in other sound streams, but not multiple from one sound stream. So that's all good. So you want to change this to the stream file name, ABC Music. And yeah, pretty much copy this. Well, yeah, we can copy it. Just overwrite it to keep this stuff. That's good to keep. And then change that to mid for middle. And then end. Whoops. And I forgot to change this as well. Middle. Yeah, that should all be good. Then now, next, in the muse file, a lot of crap in here again. Just delete it. Find where the rest is. Equal and start middle end. All right. Delete these. BBC. These are just comments. It doesn't matter. These can be whatever you want, as long as it starts with 2 slashes. All right. So now we're going to, well, we want to clean up the rest of it as well. Delete all this. So these music files are what, or these music definitions here are what the set ambient music line in the mission script looks for. It doesn't look for the segment, or rather, it doesn't look for the sound stream names. It looks for the music file names because it has all this extra information like min playback time, max playback time, min inactive, fade in time, fade out time, priority and stuff. So yeah, we don't want to. Yeah. So delete those. So we just have this one to work with. Change this to ABC amp start, and then ABC amp start. The sound stream is what refers to the sound stream bit here. So we could just keep the name the same. It's fine. Yeah. Fade in time. We want this to have a little bit of a fade in. So 1.5 seconds. I think the timing is doubled. So, like, I don't know why this is, but I noticed in Jinglintown that it doubles. Like, if I set a fade in time of 1.5, it'll actually be 3 seconds. It'll double and be 3 seconds in-game. I don't know why that is. It's very bizarre. So, yeah, it's just something to... If it sounds wrong, then that'd be why. Min and active time, I always use 0. In case it ever feels like the music isn't playing. I've never really used min and active time. It's used all over the stock stuff, but I don't use it, so yeah. You can duplicate these, then middle, end. Min, playback time, these things you don't have to worry about too much, except for max. So at the max playback time, once it's hit this amount of time, it will, I think it'll restart the sound stream. So like if you have like a looping tune, a looping track that, well, if you have a looping track, then it'll stop playback and then it'll start a different, like it'll reprocess the sound stream. And potentially it might select the same track, depends on the cycle playback setting, because this is basically like a shuffle mode. So yeah, that's what max playback time does. So I like to set this usually to like the length of the track multiplied by like 5 or something, depending on the project. 180, we'll just do 300 for 5 minutes. That's in seconds, so yeah. 100, 300, and that's fine. Okay, so this is all pretty much set up. This should all be good. All good, all good. Yeah, all looks good. It's always good to double check, like, especially stuff like the stream file, because you never know. You never know if you might have forgotten. Start, mid, end. Start, mid, end. Yep, all good. And it's pouring out rain. Wow. All right, ABC music config. Cool, that's all good. Okay. Oops. Don't want any weird characters like that. So now we can go into our mission script. Scripts, ABC, con, open with VS Code, because this looks nicer. And then now we need to scroll down to the stock sound file reading section and add a file, or add a line above it, DC, to have it look in your mods folder, just like you would do with loading custom side. Then change to ABC for the sound world name. Well, actually, technically, this would be the name of the master rec file. So that in our case, it's abc.rec, so abc.level. And then the subrec, which ours is abccw.rec, if you remember. And then abccw.rec. So that's good. And then now, scroll down to the open audio streams section. Change this line, this stock line for loading the stock music, change it to DC. And then same thing as before, with the master rec name, ABC. And then this line points to the STM stream file. So in our case, it's abc_music.stm, except we don't want .stm. So that's all good. So this will open the audio stream for playback. What this line does is it loads in all the like configuration information, and the open audio stream actually opens. It starts reading live the music from disk. It doesn't start playing it, but it opens it for reading. So that's the big difference between like streams versus effects. Effects get loaded into memory, whereas streams are read dynamically from disk live. Yeah, you can kind of test that by trying to delete like a level file. Like if we tried to delete, if we had the game running, the mission playing, the music playing as well, or well, not even the music playing, just having this line in here is enough. If we tried to delete the level file while that was all happening, we wouldn't be able to because it's opened by another process, which is the game. So yeah. So now we can change. Now the next important section is the set ambient music section. These will refer to the music file, the .mus file. These music sections, it'll refer to this name here. Not this, not the sound stream, but the name. So in our case, it's ABC amp start, and then change it for both teams if you want. And then amp middle, middle, and then amp end. And end. And then these numbers here determine how much reinforcements you have left. So this determines at what point during the battle that this music line should start playing. You can only have 3, sadly for me. Yeah, you can only have 3, and this pretty much determines what percentage of reinforcements you should have left that the music should start playing. And the team is for which team the music should start playing. So 0.8 and 0.2 are generally pretty good. Yeah, this all looks good. This all looks like it'll work fine. Hopefully, I kind of hope there's a problem so I can go through the debugging process real quick. Yeah, so now we can run 0 munge and it should all go swimmingly. Famous last words. Make sure this is all good. We don't need common or in-game, just core and mission level. And then, yep, all looks good. Cool. Then munge, hit run to munge. Looks like it's munged to the script. That's a good sign. No munge errors there. Okay, this is normal. These are normal errors to have. These 3, you can totally ignore. The shell stuff, unimportant. No one cares. All right, and then now we can go. Do I have a button for looking in open game folder? Here we go. Yeah, that's in actions, I believe. Cool. So then add on. Just make sure it's all there. Add on data, level PC, sound, ABC. So it's here. It's 20 megabytes. That's a good sign. That means there's a few music tracks there. I don't know why these are here again. Whatever. It's not important. Now we can launch the game and test. This is all fine. Yeah, it's all good. It's in action. ABC. Clone Wars. Clown Wars. Clone Warts. Clone Wards. No music playing yet because we haven't done first spawn. So spawn.
Skywalker has entered the battlefield. Darth Maul has entered the battlefield.
Wait, shut up. Here we go. It's playing. Cool, cool. Nice, very nice. So now, to test the other tracks, we can go into Fate Console, and then I think if we just set the reinforcement count, of course I don't know what number team I am. What number team is rep? 1. And then set reinforcements 1. So I think 100 should trigger the next track to play. It might not be playing yet because of the min playback time. Or is it playing? Is that the... I don't remember what the tracks actually are. Hang on, let me check that real quick. Yeah, it is. Okay. So this is actually a good opportunity to show you the debug for music. There is some sound debug, and music is one of those things. So if you go into the debugger, hopefully this is in the right location. It's in action, launch the world. Hopefully it doesn't just crash. Right. So if you go hit the tilde, press enter a couple times. Yes, thank you. Found snd.display music. You can see what's currently playing. And so now you can see if you look at that number, the second to last number. If you look at the second to last number, that's showing the min playback time counting down. So if we wait for that to happen, I'll die. Okay, so now we should be able to launch the next track. If you do that and it's still counting down, it'll queue it. It'll queue it up, and then yeah, so yeah, then it'll play it after the fades and everything. So now if I go 100, it might not be low enough. I might have. My math might be. I mean, you would think. It's always a little bit finicky. Maybe no. Curious. It might not work with setting the reinforcement count from debug. That actually does sound a little bit familiar from my Jingling Town days. So what we can actually do instead is debug kill to make sure it's all working. So we'll just do 0.9, just as a test, 0.9, 0.8. So that'll go at like, I don't know, 130 and then 110 or something. And then, so one thing worth noting is that you can't copy, like I said before, the sound file. So actually I can show you right now. So if I try to delete this, it probably won't work because it's open. See? Yep, it's open. Oh, actually it tells you what it's open by. Oh, that's new. That's kind of nice. Yep, doesn't work. Because it's currently open and being read from the disk into the game. So, if we wanted to remunge sound with the game still running, we would have to quit. We'd have to. Well, we just have to quit the map to release the file. But instead, we don't need to actually make any changes to the sound file at the moment, so we can just remunge common. That should be fine. I can wait.
Commander Skywalker has joined the battle. Try to keep up.
Yeah.
Darth Maul has entered the battlefield.
Right. So, I think there's a command to kill everyone. Just murder everyone. Let's play music. Oh, fuck off. I mean, piss off. I mean, what? Alright. Oh my god, don't kill me, please. Alright. Still playing. I guess I can kind of show you the queuing thing happening too. Where is that? Kill AI or something. Where is that? Kill all AI on team 1. Or maybe it's for the other team. I can't remember. Maybe that number's for the other team. I think it actually is. Is that enough? Actually, yeah, let me try that real quick just to make sure. Yeah, there we go. That's it, yeah. So I was wrong. Cool. So that's that working. I think it's actually playing the end music now because I skipped so far down the chain. So yeah, I forgot about that. So these numbers are actually for the other team's reinforcement count. That's right. That makes more sense. Okay. Right. So yeah, that's pretty much everything, I guess. Yeah, I don't think I've missed anything. All good. Great. Yeah. Thank you all for watching my epic tutorial that ended up being double the time that I thought it would be, apparently 43 minutes. Yeah, good stuff. Right. If you have any questions or anything, like I said, I'll leave a link to Zero Munge down below. If there's any questions or anything about any of this, you can join the Game Toast server, ask me there, or it'll leave a comment, but I might be slower to respond to comments on the video. But yeah, good stuff. All right. Thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.